Good evening. Good evening. Y'all, Craig's running a little bit behind tonight, so we're gonna get started with me, and then he's gonna join in hopefully in just a few minutes. As most of y'all know by now, I'm Freddie. Freddie Hoots, and Craig usually is my counterpart here. We co-host this together. This is our fourth episode, and we're gonna get started by just talking about you know what we're looking for, what the two of us are looking for as far as going into North Carolina week, and you know give our opinions on how we think things or I guess we already know what our opinions are of how things are going, but I guess on a broader note, what we could do or what we could look or what we look for the Tigers to, bounce back from a rough start and, try to get the thing back on track and um, try to finish up the season on a high note. We all know that Dabo usually has, a way of getting the best out of his players as the season goes on. Um, you know, with the start that we've had this or they've had this year, it's going to be interesting to see, if he can work that magic again. I remember a lot of people last year thought that, that might have been his best coaching of his career with last year's team. I'll be honest with you, he could top that this year if he can turn some things around. We got our Tigers got a lot of help this weekend from Florida State. Well, uh, let me change that. Not from Florida State, but from our old buddy uh, Tony Elliott up at UVA. Um, that really did help the Tigers out a great deal. And maybe I'm wrong. I might be looking at it completely wrong. But it just feels like that. You know, um, the ACC still wide open. Georgia Tech, they 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 got out to another I guess slow start. We're able to pull it off again. They've had two of those games so far this season. One was against us. I mean, uh, without a last second, and I call a Hail Mary um, field goal, we're possibly going overtime. So, you know, who knows what happens if it goes there. But at the same time, you know, the Tigers didn't do what needed to be done, and the Yellow Jackets did. Now, with that being said, what's to say that um, the Tigers can't get it? I guess turned around. In the bye week, you would hope that they worked on some of that stuff and tried to get some of that stuff corrected. It's going to be an interesting thing to see as the Tigers go to Chapel Hill this coming weekend. I was talking to somebody earlier, and they said that right now that it's being projected to be, I think it's projected as an 80% chance of rain, for that game. So, you know, um, what I would love to see, and you know, when Craig gets in here, he can give his thoughts on this also. What I would like to see this coming Saturday is, if it's working, don't try to do something different. Um, if you got a running back that's gaining 8.1 yards a game or a rush, um, don't try to throw the ball, you know, on a fourth and two, give it to that running back and let's see what happens there. Take what the defense is giving you, I guess is the best way to say it. You might be surprised at how well that goes if you try it. You never know. And I apologize, y'all. I'm actually working with a spare set of or spare headset tonight because the other one that I had messed up on me, so I'm having to make sure I have everything set correctly. But it, it's not going to be hard to figure out. Going forward, you got to tackle better on defense, and you've got to do what is working for you on offense. Um, there are going to be games where the rush is not going to be there. We all know that. Everybody that's watched any kind of football forever knows that every night you're not going to have or every game you're not going to have the same ability. You're not going to be able to do certain things. Well, with that being said, do what helps. Help. All right, there's my boy. All right, Craig.
What's
Um,
up? I
hey
apologize,
man.
man. I, I had some
Don't
friends.
don't.
Yeah, I had some friends of mine that had lost their home to a fire, and my me and a group of guys were asked to go play a benefit for them to raise some money to help them out. We raised over $3,000 today, so I apologize, but it was worth it.
Yep, no apology needed, buddy. That's always a good thing, man. That's always a good thing.
Yep.
I was actually talking about, you know, going forward, into North Carolina, um, you know, what I expect or what I would like to see going into that game and what I would like to see in that game, and you can
Yeah.
tell me or tell us what you think as well. I'll go ahead and I'll give you a recap. I said what I'd like to see this week is us lean on what works for us. If the running is or rushing game is working for us, don't go away from it, and better tackling. Those are the two things
Yep.
that I gave. So, what
Yep.
about you?
I agree, man. You know what I'm looking for?
What's that?
I am ready for some Clemson football, some
I
real
think we
Clemson
all are,
football.
man. Hey,
And
I
you know
think we
what,
all
man?
are.
Yep. And you and I both pretty positive. You're more positive than I am. I'll give you that because I'll get down on these boys. But um, I'm ready for Clemson football. I think that they've had a bye week. This is 2 weeks to prepare for North Carolina, and it should be a situation where these boys are fresh. Um, they've had plenty of time to work on the deficiencies, and
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to Clemson football. Clemson
Yeah.
football.
Oh yeah. Look here.
And and I want
I
to share
said that.
something with you.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I read this and I want to share this. This might be a good talking point for us. Now, I
Okay.
can't verify if this is a quote by Brent Venables or not, but whether or not it is, I think that what is said in this is important relating to Clemson football. So
Okay.
allegedly, a reporter told Venables, "You can't practice pressure and tension." And his response, "You can't? Yeah, you can. And I believe it starts with the coaches.
Yeah.
If it ain't a game 7 mentality from the coaches, then it ain't going to be for the players. If it ain't the biggest third down you've ever had as a coach, then it's not going to be for the players. I believe in living and dying in that moment. I believe in that atmosphere. And it's our job to create that environment, create the buy in, create that response, create that sense of urgency and desperation. That's how you chase excellence." That's so true. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping these boys
Yeah.
are going to be chasing excellence.
Well, I, I'll be honest with you. I totally agree with that. I do. And I'm hoping that I'll be honest with you. I hope that this last week has been one of the hardest weeks of practice that they've seen. Um, and
Yep.
I'll be the first to tell you. I met Terry Allen some years ago at an autographing down in at a church function I was at in Somerville, and I asked him, said, yeah, Terry, what'd you look forward to most, when y'all were playing? He said Saturdays. I said, what? He said game day Saturdays, and I was thinking to myself, this is gonna be interesting. This was his reasoning. He said after a week of practice under Danny Ford, he said under Coach Ford, you look forward to the team you were playing because you already knew that whatever they brought wasn't going to be nearly as bad as what you went through going up against our defense in practice all week. And I was thinking to myself,
Yep.
that's pretty interesting, you know. Um,
It is.
you know, that you got to think we grew up during a time where you didn't get the players, and we didn't have internet, we didn't have these call-in shows like you do now, and as much as you do now, and I was just thinking about it, it'd be interesting to hear what some of the players would say off the record as far as how practices go. I'd love to know what some of the practices are like right now, to see if
Oh
it's
yeah.
anything close. Um, and I would venture to say, and this is nothing towards Dabo and them, but I would venture to say that it's not. Football itself is nothing like it was back then. I mean, would you agree or disagree there?
Oh yeah. I've been reading a lot of stuff going on and talking with different friends and family members. And you kind of led me into this. I was going to share this later, but this is what my cousin sent me and my brother Michael and my other brother Matt. And I think he's get on it. And my cousin's been hardcore Clemson born. His dad went to Clemson. He said, I'm still all in, but this is caught up with Dabo. Based on principles of what's good and bad in the world, with money being the root of most of the bad, he fought it longer than he should have. He didn't change, but the game did. In a way, I respect him for it, but he's been paid a lot of that evil money to bring a good product to the field on Saturdays. And right now, we don't have it. We've got good kids, but not a competitive football team. And that's his job and responsibility. The problem he, and thus we, have now is that it's not a quick fix. He's given his word to some of these players that when they come to Clemson, they will always have a spot as long as they follow the rules. Whereas other schools work like the pro model. You don't produce, you're gone for someone else who can. This has set us back a few years, unfortunately. Hope I'm wrong in all of this, of course, but I don't think so. Given where we are, I love having Dabo as the person to fix it, regardless of whether or not he caused it. And I think there's a lot that says a lot.
It
We
does.
don't have a
It
competitive
really does.
football team now. And I don't know if there's any, I don't know what's going on with playing certain players all the time. I don't understand that. For example, Adam Randall is the only one
Yeah.
toting the rock.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And
You know, we got a top five running back out of high school. It's a true freshman that hasn't really had much of an opportunity to show what he's got. And you're going to lose players like that by not giving them the opportunities.
well, all right, and I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. All right, so keep I look back at, and I'm trying to remember. A name slips my mind. All right, against Alabama, first play from scrimmage, some years ago, and this kid was promised Jamie Harper. Jamie Harper was promised if he
Yep.
came to Clemson, he was a top tier running back. You gonna get to tote the rock. And what happens? First play from scrimmage, he fumbles the ball, and
Boom.
here we are. All right, if you
Yep.
remember, just a few years ago, you had Shipley and Maffa, two young backs. The running back that was the starter at that beginning of that season, he threw a fit, and was going to get passed by at some point in time, but we ended up having to play Maffa and Shipley earlier than Dabo planned. And if you remember the Florida State
Right.
game, Maffa missed a block that caused a fumble by the quarterback, and Florida State goes on to win that ball game. And I guess
Yep.
that's where I'm coming in with the all right, because I agree, but at the same time, you know, Gideon Davison, I guess what I'm getting at is, I think these kids are buying into the fact that you're going to come here, you may not start right off the bat, but you're going to get more playing time as you learn the scheme, and and I think that's why you haven't had as many running backs and wide receivers leave as you've seen at other places. Now, is that saying that because I'm a little concerned going after this season too. Okay, but at the same time, I'm also concerned that if you throw them out there too soon, that this is gonna cause
Oh
more
yeah.
detriment than it will help, if that makes sense. Because
Yep. And I know,
eh,
with a lot of
go
these
ahead.
young running backs, that pass protection is important,
Yep,
and I get
yep,
that. I get that.
yep. And I believe that's got a lot to do with this. I mean, because you got to think about this thing. For sadly enough, this year, other than the Georgia Tech game, we've been down. We've had to come back. So you got to have that pass pro to be able to come back, and it's put us behind a little bit of an
Yep.
eight ball there too. Um,
Yep.
you know, um, I I don't know. We could, I think we've got good arguments on both sides, and that's the
Oh yeah.
that's the key there. Um, Now, as far as I still don't have an answer as far as defense goes. I'm of an opinion that, and I know a lot of people aren't going to hear this, but I truly feel like we've got a bunch of eyes on defense, and not
Yep.
enough. I want to be a part of a team. And that's sad because this defense could have very well could have been it could have gone down as one of the best in Clemson history. And I'm not to
The talent
say that
there.
that's right. Not to say that we're 4 games in, and there's still what 8 more games to go. I mean, we could, they could. I mean that I made the comment a little while ago that just before you came on that a lot of people were saying last year that that was probably Dabo's coaching, best coaching of his career, what he did last year.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, if he can do something going forward from here, I would dare say that he tops that this year. But it's going to take a lot,
Oh yeah.
in my opinion. That's just my opinion, no one else's. You know, um, what you think? I mean, how going forward? You know, where do you stand? Where do you think as far as all right? I'm gonna ask it a little bit differently. What
Okay.
is the floor? What is the floor for you going forward the rest of the season? What would the floor be?
The
How
floor,
bad? How bad could it? How bad could you see it be?
man. Well, I watched. Got to watch some football yesterday because I was actually off work,
Okay.
and I watched Duke beat the fool out of Syracuse, who beat us last week. Beat Syracuse on their home turf, um, 38-3.
Hmm.
Now Duke scares me, and look here, never in a million years would I say what I think I would say. Duke scares me. That's going to be,
Okay.
a tough game.
Hmm.
The floor, I mean, I see 3 or 4 teams that can beat us.
Okay.
As we sit right now, not seeing Clemson playing since the Syracuse game, I
Hmm.
see 3 or 4 teams that can beat us. Now,
Okay.
if we start playing Clemson football starting this Saturday, we can beat every team left on the schedule
Yep.
with the talent that's in that locker room right now. We can win every game.
Okay.
I honestly believe that. But
Yeah.
if we come out like we've played the first 4 games, then we could drop 2, 3, 4 more. Very good possibility.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know what you think, Fred.
My You said it. You said. Here's what's so bad, Craig. I set myself up for this one because you said something a little while ago that I am a very very positive person. All right. I mean, when it
Yep,
comes to
you are.
Clemson football, just like I go in every week thinking we're gonna beat everybody. Now, I do want to interject something before as far as the Syracuse Georgia Tech game. I mean, Syracuse, yeah. All right. I mean, no, no, I'm sorry. The
Duke.
Syracuse game yesterday. Yep, the Syracuse Duke game.
Yep,
I
Syracuse
do
and
want
Duke.
to keep in mind that we put Syracuse's. I mean, they were riding on the shoulders of their quarterback. Okay, and
They were.
I do believe when we put him out, and I hate it for him. I really do. I also hate it because I believe that game was out of reach by that time. When he went down, I just and I'm saying that as a Clemson fan, I just don't believe that we had the ability to come in and to come back at that point. And that's really saying something for me to say that. Okay. Um, but at the same time, yeah, I see three teams right now that if we don't get things straightened out, and come out to play, that we'll not only will we get beat, I think we'll get beat. We'll get our drums beat in. Um, Now, with that said, I mean, I also believe that I believe Dabo and those will get the ship right or get it straightened out.
Yep,
I
right. The
believe
ship.
you see a different
Yep.
team this week, and that will go a long ways.
Yep.
I
I
mean,
think so too. I mean, hoping. I hope so.
yeah, oh yeah. Well,
Look here.
if anything, I
I'll
mean,
say this. I want to tell you this too.
uh huh.
I want just before it slips my mind. I want to say this too. You said earlier that last season was Dabo's best coaching that he's had since he's been there, and I agree with that. But you know what I want to see? I want to see starting this Saturday. I want this season to be the best coaching that he's done. I want to see Clemson win out,
I want to top it, man.
and we can
I
do
mean,
it. I mean,
that's
there.
what you want to look. Here's the thing, though. Neither one of us, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, was expecting to be talking about him having to top his coaching from last year either. So, you know, hey, you got to start somewhere. Um,
That's right.
Now, I do believe that you know what your cousin said. There's a lot of truth in that. Not only with players and stuff like that, but I also believe you got to have the right coaches in place. And I do believe that if we, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not sold on Riley. I'm not. You've known me long enough to know I use. Hey, I took up for Wes Goodwin up until they fired him last year. Well, not really took up for him, but I mean, I supported him. Okay.
Yep.
I
Same.
just
Me too.
I just don't I can't get behind I can't support somebody who's you know throwing the ball on fourth and two when your running backs rushing for 8.1 yards a carry. That blows my
Exactly.
mind. I mean it makes no
I think it's
sense.
overthinking.
I wondered that too. And sadly enough, if you think about it, the person that is catching, or how do I put this? The person who is catching the worst from that is, in my opinion, is Kate. And I'm not
Oh yeah.
defending what Kate's made mistakes, but at the same time, remember what we talked about last week? Who is his position coach? I mean, it's not hard to see this stuff, you know. Um,
Yep.
I mean, and like you and I talked about last week. I try not to, I don't want to be down or down players or get down on players. But at the same time, wise man pointed out to me that it was a little bit different before they started getting paid millions of dollars to play football. Now
Yep.
they're getting paid millions of dollars to play football. It comes with the territory. And I mean, he's right. I mean, he made a good point.
Yep.
So, um,
Well, and let me throw you a little nugget out there. I'd say
all right,
maybe not a nugget, just a little scenario. So,
okay,
if I'm not mistaken, Dabo, before he came back to Clemson as wide receivers coach under Coach Bowden, he was selling real estate in
Mm-hmm.
Alabama.
Yep.
Well, you talked about offensive coordinator. Guess who's selling real estate in Clemson right now? Jeff Scott.
And I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I am not on board with that, and I'll tell you why. Now that you brought it up, um, keep in mind that Jeff Scott was given the my understanding. Okay, Jeff Scott was given the co-offensive coordinator title for recruiting. Okay, Jeff Scott never did come up with a game day plan. He never did call plays.
That was
He
all
never did
Tony.
come up with plays. That was all Tony. Um,
All
the only
Tony.
time I will, there was one time, and I cannot remember what play it was, but Jeff Scott came up with a play that it's kind of like, Dabo talks about, if you remember, the play against Carolina where he had the wide receiver come out to the side. Everybody thought he was coming off the sidelines, and
Oh yeah,
at
yep,
the snap of the ball, he goes down the field, catches a long pass. All right, Dabo drew that up in the sand. Okay, that was the famous after the game winner chicken dinner. All right, and Dabo talked.
yep. I
All right,
remember that.
Jeff Scott had one play similar to that. Um, and other than that, though, yeah, it was Tony Elliott's show. Now keep in mind too, though, that the recruiting side of it, because I've even had some people that have mentioned, well, bring him back for recruiting. Well, keep in mind that recruiting now is not the same as it was then. Okay, back
No.
then, yeah, I mean, now it's all about money. Hey, my understanding is the majority of these recruiting things are done on Zoom calls now. I mean, they don't even have to come on campus anymore. You know what I'm saying, for the majority of this stuff. But no,
That's right.
I'm not a supporter of bringing Jeff Scott back. But and I'll say it like this: anybody that believes that Jeff Scott wants to get back into coaching has not paid much attention to it because he's had every opportunity to come back and get back in. Because just like I do, Dabo would have welcomed him with open arms. And a buddy of mine brought up a
Yep.
great point. Um, he made the comment the other day. He said if he never comes back, he will always be a he'll always be a folk legend at Clemson, and that makes sense. I mean, I don't. It's not like he needs
Yep.
money. So, um, but that's just, it is one of the few places that you and I don't agree. You know what I'm saying? But
Hey,
um,
but now, I just throw it out there. And
I
you're
know,
talking about
I know.
Riley, and I'm like, dude, Jeff Scott's right there in the backyard. Hey, and speaking of Tony Elliott, how about Tony Elliott's Virginia Cavaliers taking down Florida State in
I
what,
I
two
loved it,
overtimes?
man. I, hey, I loved it. I really did. Not just because I don't like Florida State, but because Tony will always be one of my favorite all time assistants. His
Mine too.
story is just unbelievable, man.
Incredible.
And matter of fact, my cousin and I were talking the other day, and he was talking about, it's amazing that he ended up at one of the most liberal colleges in the world, and and I- he was saying he was shocked that Tony actually. But if you think about this thing, just like with Dabo, you take what you got and you witness the people, and think about how many people he's getting a chance to witness to in Virginia. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Um,
That's
so
right.
you know, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, we love football, we love basketball, well, we love Clemson sports, okay? But at the end of the
That's right.
day, it's about more than just a football game. Um, I will
Oh yeah.
always in the back of my mind, um, keep going back to New Hopkins getting baptized on at practice. I mean, that's what
Yep.
it's all about, man.
That
That's what it's
is.
all about.
You're right, man.
So, you
Well,
know,
I'm
like,
just looking
like I told
forward.
you
I,
earlier,
I hated.
Go ahead.
I hated to be not have Clemson football to watch yesterday. I actually had a day off and didn't get to watch our Tigers play, but I'm looking forward to next week. And look here, I do have a quick question for you.
Okay.
The head coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels, is
Never
it
heard of him.
Belichick or Belichick?
Well, um,
I guess it's
I look
Belichick.
at him. I, I think his name. I think his name is Tom Brady's luggage carrier. Does that make sense?
There you go.
Look, you put it on the tee. I have no options here. Okay.
That's
Hey, I don't know it. I think this could be a good game for the first quarter if we come out and play Clemson football. And
yep.
I, you know, that should be it, in my opinion. So,
Yep.
all right.
Well, all
So,
right, real quick.
uh-huh.
What's your keys? 3 keys to the game, because I know we're running out of time. 3 keys to the
Yep.
game against
All right.
North Carolina.
My three keys to the game are tackle on defense, establish the run, and run the ball.
Yep.
All right. How about yours?
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you when that number one, establish the run.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm with you. Number two, not just tackle on defense, wrap up. I want to see
Yeah.
orange. I would love to see orange helmets swarm the ball.
Gang
And
tackling.
number three, and the third key to the game, I feel like, is Cade and his wide receivers having a connection again with each other and catching balls.
And I actually was joking about my third one. My third one actually is Cade playing like he can, like we know he can, and that means
What he's
not
capable of.
making bad mistakes. Yeah, not putting us into danger, so to speak.
Yep.
Um, all right. So, what's your prediction?
Oh gosh. Of course, I'm going to predict the Clemson Tiger win,
Mhm.
but I tell you, I think North Carolina, like you said, it might be a pretty tight first quarter. Um, they haven't been too great offensively outside of one game. Neither have we. But hey, I'm gonna my prediction. Here we go. 31-10.
Okay. All right. I agree with you on everything that you said. Um, I think we've been a little bit better on offense than they've been, and that's not saying much. Um, but I'm going with 41 to I am going 41-14.
Hey, I'll
41-14.
take it. I'll
So,
take that too.
uh, hey,
Hey, but
look,
you
what do
know
we have to
what? I
lose?
don't care if look here. I'll take 3-0.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, man, look here. Give me a safety and the defense tackle, and we're good.
That's right. Hey, a dub is a dub. So that's hey,
That
I just
exactly
want to win,
right,
but
man.
I want to see us score points, and I want to see our defense stand up and play Clemson Tiger defense.
I want to see them play for pride. You know, I want them to stand up for the Paul, if that makes sense. You know, the Paul,
Yeah,
you
oh
hear
yeah.
all the time about the Paul says it all. Well, at this point, it's time for you to, TJ Parker, you know, you know, everybody, all of them, Peter Woods, all of them. I mean, you came here because you said you love this place and you love DePaul. Well, and you love Dabo and you love the fans. Well, prove it. It's easy to say
That's
stuff,
right.
man. It's always easy to talk the talk. What impresses me is walking the walk, and we have not walked the walk to this point. So,
Nope.
it starts,
We've been
you
limping.
know. Oh yeah, oh yeah, man. Look here.
limping. But hey,
That's right. Well,
we
buddy,
live for
it's
another
been a
Saturday.
That's right. And all right, I want to say something before we get off of here, because we're going to have to get some credits or get some shout outs and stuff in a minute. But you don't ever have to apologize for for what you were doing today. I When I saw that earlier, I was
Yeah,
already working on a contingency plan because if you'd have told me you couldn't make it tonight, we'd have worked it out because that's what it's all about.
I,
Is helping
I
everybody else
appreciate it.
out.
I didn't want to miss this.
So yeah, I understand. I understand completely. But but anyway, we got to give a shout out as we always do to Jason Priester. He looks out for us. He helps us out. He's been helping us get through this thing that as we and oh by the way, I don't think I got a chance to tell you. I found out this week through JP assisting me that on YouTube it tells you whenever you sign up for YouTube and you get your channel and all this that you can go live. Well, we have not been going live on YouTube because to do that, you have to go in and go through um their setup. Okay, and when I say their setup, I had to take a picture of my driver's license, front and back, send it to them, and now we get to go live on Facebook on YouTube. So our YouTube channel is actually live tonight. So, um,
Oh, is it?
if y'all,
What?
yep, 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 it is, man. As soon as this thing ends tonight, you and I will be able to share it with people we want to share it with, not have to wait an hour or so for it to pop up after they approve it. So, um, that
That's
makes life a
awesome.
lot easier.
That's awesome.
And all thanks
Yes.
to literally thanks to Jason because when I talked to him after the thing the other night, I was like, "Look," he said, "Go in there and check your settings." I was like, "Okay," and sure enough, that's where they don't tell you this stuff, and so we're
Yeah.
the biggest thing is we're learning as we go. We hope y'all are enjoying it as much as we are. I look forward to next Sunday. Just talking Clemson sports and you know getting it all out
Same.
there, man. It's just if y'all do
Hey,
like us,
I'm,
please go to that YouTube channel and subscribe, man. Also our Facebook page. So go ahead, Craig. What you got?
I was going to say, I enjoy doing this so much that I promise you, right before 15 minutes before I came on, I was driving. I was literally standing on stage with the guitar in my hand, singing the last song. And I got my stuff together, went straight to the truck. I didn't even tell anybody goodbye. I got in my truck and I left. sorry, fellas.
you,
Hey,
you,
sorry, fellas in the band, leaving y'all was tearing down. But
hey, I can understand, man. I can. I do. Um, look here, I shoot you that text on Sunday afternoons, and I'm like, you know what? I hope I don't push you too much because I'm just ready to get going, man.
oh, yeah, man, me too. I
So,
look forward to that text. Like, yep, it's almost that time.
hey, there you go. All right, y'all. We'll get out of here. Like I said, if you like what you saw, or if you, I mean, y'all can always get on here and shoot us a message, and we'll do our best to answer it. We'll converse back and forth with you on here. If you like it, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to it, like it, share it, whatever you can do. We're just trying to get it out there so that everybody can see what we're doing here. All right. Until next time, y'all. All God's children said, "Go Tigers."
Go Tigers. Boom. Meow.